So it's Monday, and it's our week in review, or the weekend in review. The Yankees won the series with the Mets. Just kidding.
Yeah,
We are,
I
we're
I I, I thought it was true. I don't know.
no, it is true. But we're here
Oh,
to talk about the aftermath of Eurovision. Now, some of you may say Eurovision, and when I first came here, it was just kind of this quaint European thing. And of course, everybody wants to know, like, is Israel in Europe? Which raises the question, is Australia in Europe? So it seems like a strangely defined sense of what Europe is. Now, I didn't know what it was. It was started, since I did my research, in 1956. And after World War II, the Eurovision was meant to bring people together, countries together, in the spirit of unity, freedom, cooperation, and peace.
through
Those
songs.
through singings, right? I finally got to that through songs. Um, Israel has participated, I guess, I don't know, since its inception. That's a question I don't know the answer to, though I do know that we have won four times. And I mean, Ronit, you will share with us the finals and semifinals. I would try to explain it, but to me, it would be like trying to explain college basketball, which I don't really watch. It seems kind of complicated, actually. So how does it actually work?
Well, it's not actually, it's very simple because each country sends a song and
Mhm.
that's it. And then there's a competition. And in the past few years, you can vote. Like I remember when I was, a child, then it was only the judges. Like each
Mhm.
country has judges and they give points. You can give 12 points, which is like the highest, and then you have 10 and then 8 and then it goes down. So I think the past 3 or 4 years, the people's vote is a factor in it. So you can vote for you can't vote for your country from your country. You can only vote from the outside. So that's also like an indication, I guess, of understanding the people's choice, right? Instead of just
Mhm.
the judges who are, I don't know, like just a very limit, like it's like few people who decide, who's going to get what. So, and it's frankly, it's a very ridiculous contest. It's just it's over the top. There's each year they're trying to make it even more ridiculous. You have,
Ronit, but
I
you're
don't
just
know,
you're
like
just this you're just a snob.
I'm not a snob. It's just it's a known fact. It's fun, it's
In fact.
campy, it's just and some people are like diehard fans. I'm not, I have to say. I usually don't watch it. I don't care for it. But the past few years, especially since October 7, it's I mean, it has always been political. You can't separate the political from it. But since October 7, it's become so charged and polemics that we just kind of all of us are watching it just to understand how, where do we stand in the world? It's like an indication for us. So it's been very interesting. And I mean, last year with Eden Golan was very interesting because it was right after October 7th and nobody wanted us there. And they bullied this young 21-year-old. And she came, I think, fifth place. And the people's vote was very high. So we were just like, okay, so the hatred is, where's the hatred? But it was very horrific. Like it just for her and for us, I mean, it was a very, I guess, a ballad. We do give like campy songs, but I think the past 2 years we just wanted to just kind of go to the emotional, song to
What,
just kind
what
of
and
resonate to
and
feelings or
what
whatever.
was this what was this year's song?
So this year is, I mean, the story of the girl singing is obviously very powerful. I mean, she's a Nova survivor, and she didn't sing professionally beforehand, and this is her first time. And she won the contest. There was a contest in Israel, which I did. So she won it, and then, and now she's in Switzerland, right? She is there to perform. And it was very interesting because she was actually there are two contests before there's the semifinals, right? And you have to just reach like to get a really just to be on top. I think only 10 from each, and she came up on top, which we didn't realize, but after the Eurovision ended. So, I mean, did you watch the song? Did you watch her
I
performance?
was relying upon you to watch the performance.
No, you didn't watch it? Seriously?
Well, I've seen pieces of it, of course.
Right.
I
It
mean,
was
that's
very
that's the thing also is
emotional.
that even people, my kids didn't watch it, but they all knew about it. I mean, everybody knew about it. I mean, because I think we did feel, of course, before we read the papers from other countries that maybe they don't hate us, but it did work out. Um, so just
No, but let's
yeah,
not, there's two elements to this.
mm,
So she came in second place,
mm.
and because of the popular vote, she was number one on the popular vote, which
It's
was
incredible, right?
it's, I mean, there is some sort of euphoria. There was a euphoria yesterday where everybody's like, okay, maybe they don't hate us. They love us. The regular person, the one who's watching these protests and,
Right.
not the loud, pro-Palestinian people. Maybe they actually understand what we're going through, or they understand our position. So there was this kind of sense of, oh, maybe they don't hate us. And then,
Well,
of course,
it's the human story became more important than the political story.
I don't know. I mean, I think the song also resonated with people. A new day will come, or, I mean, you can take it to your own life. But I think what was interesting is that 2 minutes after that was said, people were just like, well, maybe it is actually the right wing who wanted to protest the country's policies, and they voted for us. So there was this whole like conspiracy about why we got the popular. So it's like we can't really believe that people will. I mean, she got the number one popular vote. I mean, it was a landslide. It wasn't even like, so you're saying, so there's the hatred, but then 160 million people watched it and a lot of people voted, and she's the number one. We just were very confused. We were happy, and then we're like, maybe, I don't know. It's just like there's a lot of talk of it being rigged. There's a lot of right, like I don't know what to think of it. Do you have any
Well,
thoughts
I
about it?
know, that the shock in the journalistic world was that Israel was allowed to compete in the first place. Not because they're not part of Europe, but because if Russia was disqualified because of their military activity in the Ukraine, then certainly Israel should be disqualified for the genocide in Gaza. So it is interesting that you talk about this duality between the institutions that form or seem to claim to form public opinion and this actual public opinion. I mean, 160 million or however many people voted, it seems like it's hard to falsify that completely. So there was,
Well, it's not 160 million voted.
I
160 million
understand.
people watched
Okay.
the Eurovision worldwide. But it was astounding that she came first place in the People's Choice. Like, I think that's what kind of completely just, we're so used to the hatred. We're so used to that like very violent rhetoric against anything or
Yeah,
everything that is
yeah,
Israeli.
yeah.
We're so used to feeling ostracized. We're so used to being, you know, just not, that our voice doesn't matter. And then having this happen for a few seconds, we were just like, okay, maybe there's hope. But I don't know. It was kind of, I mean, it's almost like yesterday's news, right? I mean, it's just,
Right. I think I would go back to this. I think we're being seen as human, and the Jews have often been dehumanized. And suddenly, the story of the girl who waits 7 hours, 9 hours, she figures out the best way for her to survive is to bury herself under dead bodies. So I think that story, and people who boo her, what kind of person are you who boos a person who was under dead bodies for 7 or 9 hours to save her life? I mean, I think
but
that,
she's a representation of, that's the thing where we're saying it's not even, it has become more than just
mm,
a song competition. She's a representation of something. And as a representation of something, then you have to ask yourself, how come she came in second place? So if she does represent at least, from the hatred that she's getting from the demonstrations, from, the slurs and everything on social media. And then having that happen, I don't know. That was astounding. I think we were all just shocked. And then there was the minute that, they announced that she was second place, we had a siren at 2 o'clock in the morning, which was just, the timing, the joke was like that they didn't like it. The Houthis didn't like that
Oh,
she was
right.
second place. So they sent us a missile. But the minute, like, it was just the timing of it. So I was outside. I was in, there was a sign at 2 o'clock when they announced it. I think they announced it at 2 o'clock, and at 2:01 I was in the miklat, in the safe space. So it was just also that. So I don't tend to look at symbolism in life. I believe there is more to it, but there was just
Well,
something so cosmic about
you have
everything.
an allergy because God forbid somebody should say it's like Zeus giving a thunderclap when Odysseus comes
Right. I
back,
mean,
right?
nothing, there's
No,
no.
it was not divine intervention, we don't think.
No,
No, no
I
divine.
just don't believe. But it
No.
was just, and I think I think the day after I mean, yeah, it was only yesterday, but it feels like old news. But I think we just kind of, we were just a little bit, we're like, okay, maybe it's gonna be okay. Maybe
Did
there's,
it
I
last
mean,
till afternoon? Did it last till the afternoon?
yeah, I think so. I mean, it was on repeat, that song, over and over and
Ah,
over and over and over again. So I think you couldn't escape it.
and people
And
should
even I
just
think if
remember
you're a
that.
cynic,
Yeah.
that is just kind of it's hard not to get sucked into that,
Hmm.
especially now when we're all feeling very low. We don't know where things are going. We just want this to end. We just want, for everyone. So
I
it
mean,
was just an interesting moment. Another interesting moment in the Jewish history. Yeah.
I
And
mean,
we lived it.
people don't understand the extent to which Israel really, in some ways, is like a giant summer camp. And meaning in America, you live in the tri-state area, you live in California, you live in Chicago, and everybody's experience is local. They're local news. In a way, all news here is not local, or all news is local. It's just the same thing. So when you say we all experience this, I mean, yeah, you're on the train, and I'm coming from, Bayit Vagan, which is a Haredi ultra-Orthodox neighborhood, and even that's the thing about the Haredim is you see it's cracking because even they get pride out of it. Even they get pride out of it. So
Really?
listen, I live in an open Haredi neighborhood, so don't get, and I'm talking about, maybe 20 or 30%. Whatever. They know about it. They know about it. You
In
know,
my daughter's school, they were
yeah.
discussing it. Like, she was the teacher, she's my daughter is 9 years old, and my daughter didn't watch it, but there were, the teacher, took time, like 10 minutes out of the day, and or even more, and just explain about what happened. And it was almost like, I don't know, like, when you teach about a holiday, Passover, and it was like, let's analyze what
Actually, a
happened.
good thing
So
happened to us.
no, I thought it was kind of sweet because, it's just, it was an event. And I think what you're saying is that and as an Israeli person, I know not very well, but I know the politics in Lebanon. I know what's happening in Syria. I know what's happening in Iran, politic wise, because it affects me. So everything that happens globally affects Israel, where in America, it doesn't really affect your day-to-day life. So it's just the shift and how much we are aware, and how much it controls the way that we live, is just, people, I don't think people realize that. I mean, I know what's happening in Lebanon. We read about it. It's part of our daily news. So that's just, so that was a
It
nice moment.
it feels
That was
like
a nice,
it feels like, I mean, it's a kind of connection. I hate using the term because I know that that it's a trigger term for you, like community, and it is for me as well. I mean, it is for me as well because people use it too often to describe something as something that it can, in an ideal fashion. And I think what was so unusual about the moment is the connection that we normally feel is going down into the miklat. And in my building, even though I live in a Haredi neighborhood, there are all sorts of different kinds of people. And this is like my shul. I would have no connection to them in real life, none at all. They're all so different from me. But when I go into the shul, there's a certain kind of comfort in that. And especially like at the very beginning of the war, the week after Simchat Torah, when October 7th. And I remembered the singing there. I thought I must be in Poland in 1938 right now, because we had this total sense of being isolated and being together. And the connection, again, it's just once you start to articulate it, it kind of spoils it because it turns it into something that it's not, but what it is. And I think that was the rare moment for me. And as an American, I think I try to make myself much more present to it because I lacked it in my life for so long. I think for a lot of Israelis, it's a burden. Um, and I can see that. But for me, it was, I wasn't giving high fives to people, but I felt good.
Right, but it also makes us kind of question those. I mean, it's a ridiculous context. It is. It's
I
so
know, that's
campy and
right.
so over the top. So is
Right.
that, something that I want to give such gravitas? That's, oh, okay, so they don't hate us because this it's the first minute you're just like kind of happy and then you start questioning everything about it. But that's what we do. So it was, but then I had to stop myself and just say, you know what? It was a nice moment. We were
Oh wait,
happy,
so
for her.
your criticism machine, you actually it has a setting that you don't go beyond. You just like
Right. I mean, I stopped myself because I just, it's the cynic in me just finds it,
so is
I when I start to dissect it, I'm like, really? So that's an indicator of
I
people's,
think you're much
you
more of a
know,
skeptic than
approval of us in the world. Is that
uh-huh.
really, it's that contest is, but then you try to kind of in today's climate, you kind of leech onto anything that just gives you hope. You're like, you know what, maybe they don't hate us. Maybe I don't. Maybe Yuval, that's her contribution. She just showed us. But then I don't know. It's. I mean, I saw a lot of people questioning it too. They're like, that really? I mean, people just were saying, does that mean that maybe the world doesn't? And it was a discussion. It opened up a discussion about, so that was interesting to be part of, to just, we're not sure.
Hmm.
And again, it's the days are just kind of filled with confusion and apprehension. So that was a sweet
Well,
moment.
I would consider you to be much more of a skeptic than a cynic. The skeptic is the one is still on the inside. The cynic is completely on the outside. And
Right.
but my general question is can people like us, skeptics or cynics or whatever we are, can we get this kind of pleasure?
I think that when I heard her say Am Yisrael Chai at the end, and my God, that just isn't my, I don't even know how to articulate it, but it usually it doesn't really resonate with me, those sayings, but that moment, I was just like, yeah, yeah, okay.
True
So, I
confession.
mean, it's
True
just,
confession.
I mean, immediately after, I was just like, whatever, but,
You wore a hair.
no, it's just, it was, yeah. I mean, it's.
I think people like her are reclaiming, I mean, are reclaiming the language for 1 second. And it,
No,
no, I know, I
no.
know. She's not
Yeah, I mean,
reclaiming the
it will
language.
be, I mean,
Right.
she's also, I mean, her story has been, it is a manipulation, of the story to, I mean, whatever, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's part of, of, you know, of that, of what we sent there. I mean, it was a conscious choice. Okay. So I don't know if she's the voice, but she is we need to understand that more and more people who are survivors of what's happening, of the war, are among us. So, it's it's just, the way it is. Everybody knows somebody who's been hurt. Everybody knows somebody who's been Gaza. Everybody knows, somebody's cousin, was a hostage. It's just that it's a small country. So she's part of who we are as a nation right now, the survivor.
To just end on a little bit of a lighter note, did you feel experience any Schadenfreude joy at the failure of countries like Ireland who did so poorly?
I know a lot of people did. I didn't particularly care. Like, I mean, Ireland gave us points, from the judges,
I
and
saw that.
also we've gotten points from the peoples. I don't know, I'm not sure how many, but there were a lot. So that was also like, huh, okay. So, um, but a lot of people were very happy that they didn't, yeah,
Yeah.
get any points. Small moments of FU.
So thanks, Ronit. It's always good to catch up on a Monday morning.
Yes.
Next week, Bill and Ronit live. Whatever, not live.